Hey there, everybody. I hope you enjoy this little Dragoncast bonus. It was recorded right after the finale aired, just some initial impressions, and look for the regular episode of Dragoncast to be coming out within the next couple of days. So we're going to break this down a little bit more in depth.
So, like, what the serious?
I don't know. That? Well, which part are you? I mean, the Night King stuff was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Like, the wall and all the we just need a dragon to breathe fire on it, and that's it. It's cool.
But was it fire or magic?
That's what like. It seemed like it was like this blue fire, but it didn't really. I didn't notice it lighting anything on fire. But it did like burn right through the wall, so I don't know what just happened.
Magic.
That would kind of make more sense.
Tormund
and Varric are totally dead, right? Like that just happened.
No, they jumped. You see them like escape to the side of the wall that isn't crumbling.
They rode a giant piece of ice that was the wall like into the water, and they're just gonna swim away.
They're gonna run along the wall and meet up with Ed.
Yeah. They ran along the wall the other way, and they're gonna meet at King's Black or Castle Black.
Hey Zach, you sound like you're in like a fucking echo chamber.
Yeah, he's in a library. Oh, damn it!
What the fuck was that? That was the fucking worst thing I've ever seen besides like the Winterfell scenes. Like.
Which thing? Oh, the whole episode?
Yes, the whole
didn't make
episode.
Sense.
I don't understand what the fuck Cersei was trying to do. Like, she's like, oh yes, this makes sense, and like, yeah, you must be a dumb fucker for like believing that I'd ever keep my word, and then it made no.
Yeah, like the best part is clearly that they like spent so much time with this. It's like a 90-minute episode. They spent all this time doing shit in King's Landing that really didn't make sense. But oh no, look, she was plotting the whole time, and it's still stupid.
We didn't even get Clegane Bowl. Like we were inches away from Clegane Bowl. What the fuck was he saying? Like he was like, oh well, I'm not gonna get you, but you know who is. It's like what?
You know the only one that can kill you is me, the Hound. For later. I said this before. I'm like, I think like almost no one's going to die because they want them all to promote season 8. And then like very quickly, lots of people are going to die next season. Although we did get the one death that I have been wanting was Littlefinger, but that was like less satisfying because of the bullshit surrounding it.
Right.
But
Mikal, like last week and everyone was like flipping the fuck out because like the Stark girls are turning against each other and
right, well, but I mean, and like
they condemned Littlefinger, they were still doing it. Like, it's
but the point is that was all an act for Littlefinger, guys, which is what people said online. Clearly, it's just going to be an act, and I'm like, well, not clearly because they're by themselves in seclusion, like acting this way. Like Littlefinger is not watching. Who are they putting on the show for? The audience is who they're putting on the show for. Clearly, they already had like some private like bonding session where they're like, we're gonna get him, right? Like, and Bran was there too. We just didn't get that. It was off screen, and they thought this was gonna be great. Like, they even said after the episode, like, yeah, because the show kills so many people, you could totally believe it was gonna happen. But like, we got you, ha ha ha! Look how great a writer.
We called it. We called for it.
Well, I don't think it's so much they got us, but just like we suspected, like, yeah, sure, this makes as much sense as anything. Because if they do what they did in this episode, where like, ooh, they were plotting on Littlefinger the whole time. That doesn't really make sense the way they did it.
Paul is totally right.
Or something.
And I guess we just have to realize this season, the show may have to make sense anymore on shit like that. Like, it's okay if it doesn't make sense in their minds. And they
so it was like blue fire.
It was blue fire or magic. We're not really sure, but it took down the fucking wall like it was butter, man. But so we get like the strange incest that we've been waiting for forever, and then like after the episode, they're like, "This is gonna be a huge problem. It's gonna break Jon and Dany up next season." I'm like, "Why you give me spoilers for season 8, D&D? What the fuck?"
They're like, just in case you're wondering if there's still going to be some kind of problem on this side of the wall. There is.
Yeah.
It's
good. But then you know what? Like last season, they were like, John and Sansa, they're at each other's throats, man. This is going to be crazy. And that lyric did not go anywhere very quickly. So
you guys thought the Littlefinger bullshit was over. Wait till next season.
Fucking trying to podcast from a well.
Oh God!
I'm in the pit of despair.
You don't sound like Zach anymore, so that's a thing.
My true voice has been unleashed.
He's in Khazad-dûm. So
I thought it was interesting in the after the episode. He said when we decided this is how the wall was going to come down.
Yeah, he was like, we write it and like they have to make it look cool, but we just wrote like, and the wall falls, and we're like, yeah, fuck yeah. After the episode seems like they're toking the whole time. They're just like, fuck yeah. When I wrote this shit, so finally we got this incest going on, but it's gonna be a huge problem. Because like, ooh, now that they're closer than ever, finding out their family would make them even closer. No, it wouldn't.
You know what's great to say when you're inside a woman? I'm your nephew.
They said that. What?
I guess because his claim is better than hers, so they're gonna fight over claims and like, because the whole thing about him, like, oh, he's a sand. Oh no, wait, they were legitimate. Like, it doesn't matter.
They'd have to completely change John's character for them to fight over that.
Yeah, John's gonna be like, oh, cool. Well, why don't we just get married and then we're both king and queen and we both rule? Like, who cares? Like, we share it. Like, that's what we were gonna do anyway, right?
Gonna be like, oh shit, I went down on my fucking aunt.
Yeah, like for him, it might be weird, but not. I don't know. For her, she was conditioned thinking she was gonna marry her brother her whole life, right? So
yeah,
for her,
dude, if your aunt was hot, it'd be okay, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
I've seen those videos.
I don't think that's a justification for any kind of incest. That's just, I don't know how things work north of Massachusetts, north of the wall there.
Oh, come on, man. Stop it. You don't have to be PR with us. It's just us girls talking, Matt.
Speaking of, where are they? We should go live to the History of Westeros viewing party. Oh, they're not online. Never mind.
Our correspondence.
It's me, behold. No, it doesn't work.
It was,
it's even worse when you try to fake it too.
Yeah, I found it really strange that they said when we decided this is how the wall was going to come down, like they didn't know. Do you know what I mean?
Why do you find that strange?
Make any fucking sense.
No, I think I think it's strange because. So I'm assuming that I'm assuming they don't know how it goes down in the books.
I don't think why would you assume they do know that? Everyone keeps talking about how George is giving them everything. They're reading his manuscripts, except over and over again.
Well, I feel like the way the
we
wall
see
comes
how
down
like
would be
they
a pretty
just
broad
make
stroke.
Well, I mean, maybe, but like, who's to say that he's like, well, I haven't decided that part yet. The wall's gonna come down about here, you know? Or maybe he's like, it's gonna be the fucking horn and shit, and they're like, yeah, we have to drop that. We're not doing that, so they have to come up with their own thing, right? So even if they have a general idea, but it's something they can't do because of choices they made, then yeah, they'd have to make something up.
Okay. I just thought it was interesting. Gives me hope for difference.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't assuming there was already a lot of difference. Sorry, go ahead, Barley.
You don't think George is just going to have a dragon breathe fire on this wall that he's built up for like, to be this huge thing that's thousands of years old?
Not because it doesn't make any fucking sense that fire, like an ice dragon, would breathe fire. And
why is it an ice dragon all of a sudden?
Well, but again, like, is that just blue magic? What is
whites
it?
Are supposed to be vulnerable to fire. Like the White Walkers are supposed to be vulnerable to obsidian.
Right. That's why we were saying it's weird if it had fire, but we don't know for sure it's fire because nothing caught fire. So...
okay, so he blew ice into ice.
Well,
I don't think you can't blow ice. That would be weird.
Well, it's like if it was like a freezing beam, the wall would just get bigger. But I think the argument is that like maybe it's just some sort of like magical like necro breath or something. I don't know. There are no rules to this shit, Martha.
Right?
But like all I know is that I expected to maybe see some shit catch fire and didn't. that doesn't mean anything really. All I know is Night King was sitting there just like with his stone face, like, yeah, the wall's coming down, great.
Oh, he's been stone
I
face
hate Mondays, like
forever.
he was so bored.
Why didn't he just fly down to King's Landing and fuck everyone's shit up?
I mean, I feel like we thought that there was some sort of magical barrier preventing them from going south of the wall, from just like, I don't know, creating like a chain or some sort and using it to get around the cliffs.
And is that all it's written for fucking Davos and Tormund? Like, are they done?
You mean Beric?
Beric and Tormund?
Oh yeah, Beric and Tormund. Because
I feel like Beric has to climb that giant lady, so he's going like, if Jaime and Bronn can swim away from their their encounter with Drogon and nearly drowning, like a mile away with no one watching and no one noticing, we can definitely get a scene where there's like some fucking driftwood that like Tormund snowboarded down. And he's like triple X. He's like triple X of Westeros.
Snowboarded down the fucking wall like Legolas in like fucking Helm's Deep. What the fuck with King's Landing? Where everyone's like, they're about to kill each other, but then they don't, and then they promise to like each other, and then they don't.
Yeah, okay. So none of this made sense.
Fuck.
None of this made sense. I mean, we'll actually talk about this more in depth tomorrow. I have to watch it again, whatever. But just none of this made sense because the dialogue was like, okay, we want a truce, and Cersei's like, well, Jon has to promise to truce too, which I think kind of is what was going on. And he's like, well, I'm just going to do whatever Dany says. And then Cersei's like, oh, that's a deal breaker. Goodbye. I'm like, wait a second. If your truce is with Dany and he's doing what Dany says, but then like I think she still was like, and then she was like, fine, you guys go north and fight, whatever. And I'm like, I thought they just wanted a truce so that they could go north and fight. And they're like, oh man, she's gonna let us go north and fight. We're fucked. So I was very confused.
Like Qyburn was gonna get weird with that hand.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna start like scratch his back or something. But I guess like what they really wanted was their armies to help, which I didn't even think was on the table. I thought they were just like, hey, don't fuck shit up while we're gone, okay? We'll be back, and then we'll talk then.
Cersei talks about like the Lannister army like it's still a thing. Didn't they just get fucking toasted?
They've got some people, and did you not see all of those ships? Like, where oh, look how genius Euron is. Oh, I am the undead. This is crazy. I have never seen an undead before. I am going back home. Like,
why is all of a sudden he either Italian or Middle Eastern?
I don't know that.
Or Russian.
I was trying to do like a Dracula thing that didn't work very well. Never mind. I was because obviously Dracula would have seen the undead. Like that's why it would have been anyway.
I no longer see the undead.
I tried something, Matt. It didn't work. So like his genius maneuver to go get the Golden Company. Ooh, they'll solve everything with their elephants. Like, and Jaime's like, what? Why does it matter? What the fuck? Rightfully so.
I'm so angry.
Oh, okay. That's another thing. I watched after the episode, and they're talking about Jaime leaving, and they're like, yeah, so Cersei kind of does this thing where she's like, I'm gonna kill him, and like tells him off and threatens, and I think that's like definitely his motivation in that moment for leaving. Yeah, no
shit.
Did
the fucking mountain draw his sword and like was ready to kill him?
Like Cersei's like, no one walks from me, and Jaime wasn't happy with that, so he left. I'm like, are you just telling us what we saw? Like, you're supposed to be giving us some sort of insight. Like, this is not hard to read. You think we're stupid.
Like, did anyone else hear that? Because I did, and I thought that's it for Jaime.
Hear what?
For Jaime what?
No, that the mountain like drew his sword and was about to kill Jaime.
He drew his sword and was like waiting for the word, and Jaime basically called her bluff. Jaime was like, "Yeah, I don't believe it," and then he just walks off, and the mountain's like, "Damn it, She told me not to actually do it. She told me just to threaten him. You know, I think that's what that was. Now the mountain is her general. now the mountain will lead her armies because there's no one else left.
Oh, Euron's her general.
Kitty, do you have anything to say about this fucking episode?
The dialogue's gotten really dumb, and it just sounds dumb.
It's gotten so dumb that you can't even understand, like, if they're getting what they want or not. Like, it's so confusing. And I'm sure everyone will just say we're idiots for thinking that. But, like, I wrote down a few lines of dialogue that I was just like, what the hell does this mean? Like, it doesn't add up. But
yeah, like the whole manufactured conflict of Cersei leaving the council because of what Jon said. I was like, I don't follow what was wrong. What was her anger about?
Yeah, we just went over that where it was like, okay, so like they're agreeing to leave you alone, and now you're mad. Like,
it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
But like, obviously, she picked something that she knew, like, that I guess Jon wouldn't agree to because he's so honorable, and you know, I don't know. Like, it just didn't make sense. So they give us a 90-minute episode, and you're like, oh my gosh, 90 minutes, the biggest episode ever. This is crazy, and it was just so much like doing the same thing two or three times.
You have the lady woodies, like everything is woody, like you're ready for it, and it's like the biggest letdown ever.
But like it was like 20% awesome because we finally got that incest. We finally got sisters bonding. We finally got.
I thought the Littlefinger thing was pretty good.
I did.
It didn't make much sense, but it was pretty good.
I loved that scene, but I hated how they got to it.
Well,
yeah, because they were just trolling us the whole way.
Episodes ago, instead of like setting up like this, like, is Arya gonna kill fucking Sansa? Like storyline,
right. So that scene should have happened as soon as Arya and Bran got there, and like the next episode, you know, Littlefinger shows up and thinks something's going down, and he's put on trial and killed. But they obviously wanted to save that for the finale because people love Littlefinger and they thought that'd be great. So, and I think
Bran, stop it.
Just
Littlefinger. Tell us how to win already, motherfucker. Like, he is like, oh yeah, I already saw this. His name is like Aegon, which doesn't even make any fucking sense. Like,
what doesn't make any sense is he didn't like actually do any research at all. He was just...
No, he's like, oh, this is what happened. Like,
he's like, hey, maybe go follow Leanne around and figure out what actually happened.
I guess books are good for something. Fuck. We're fails him again.
Oh, I do love how Sam just like,
he's like, Sam?
He completely ignored that in the episode, but remembered it here.
No,
I guess he was doing his reading.
Give Gilly credit, please.
No, because Sam mansplained him like off about like the annulment of Rhaegar, and now it was brought up, and Sam's like, "Oh yes, I know all about the annulment of Rhaegar."
It's a long way. It's a long way.
Yeah, he had time to read.
He had to read something.
Yeah, he brought that book, and actually they were just going to use it for toilet paper, and he saw that page and was like, "Oh."
It was so stupid.
So I think this episode kind of is what the whole season has been. If you take a step and look back at it, like,
it's a culmination of the season. Awesome
really,
with crap.
Really cool bits followed by trash.
Yeah, the season's been awesome, and we've had like big set pieces, and it looks great and all that. But more of what I'm talking about is that it seems like instead of writing the season, they wrote scenes. So they picked, we want Sandor to do this. We want the Cleganes to talk. We want Cersei and Cersei and Tyrion to have a private moment where she spares his life and they sort of bond, but not really. Like, so they wrote all these scenes, and they're like, oh, now we need to fill the blanks in. And they went backwards and tried to fill the blanks, and somewhere along the way they lost a lot of that shit, and that's why it's not connecting right. Like, these scenes are great. They're making great scenes.
She blew up most of the royalty of the fucking kingdom last season.
No, I mean, it's what happens when you let
zero shits, and then like she's like,
hold on, what were you saying, Katie?
No, let Matt finish.
It was basically
Matt doesn't have coherent thoughts. We'd rather hear from you.
No, I'm just saying, like, they're letting the plot or what they want the plot to be lead them rather than the characters lead them by their motivations, and so it feels weird, and people aren't doing what they should logically be doing. They're doing what the scene what the story maybe demands of them, but not what makes sense for what a person would do.
Hey man, are you saying that like Daenerys taking Jaime in as her battlefield commander because he's now left?
I think,
oh god,
I think,
he's gonna show up. No, he's gonna show up with a beard and a wig, and he's gonna be like, "I used to squire for your brother.
My name's Eris.
Arston the Whitebeard or whatever.
Arston White.
Goldhand the squire.
Golden.
I think you're discovering why it takes George so many books to write what he thought was originally going to be a trilogy, because he wants everything to make sense. They don't even care. They're like, we've got 8 seasons. Let's go.
Like, only a few more episodes.
How's it gonna bring down the wall? Fuck it.
Here's the thing: is that they know their audience, and most of their audience doesn't care, and they realize that.
I disagree that most of the audience doesn't care. I think a lot of people are going to be bitching about this not making sense, like they have all season.
I think a lot of people will. But everyone,
like, did you see blah 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 from Game of Thrones last night? And this is why it sucked. Blah blah.
Well, see, here's the problem: is that we are, we're in the fandom, and we talk about this with each other, and we see the articles, and we see people on Twitter and whatever talking about how it doesn't make sense. But when I talk to anyone who I know that watches the show, very few of them are like, they're like, yeah, whatever. Like, if they acknowledge it, they kind of gloss over it. And a lot of them are like, what do you mean, Adam? Well, oh, no, I didn't even notice that.
Are they, like, drooling out of the corner of their mouths? Being,
no, these are actually smart people. They just,
They don't care. Like, it's not a big thing in their lives.
It's popcorn. They're watching it, and they're gone. So they're not paying as close attention as we are.
I was in Springfield last week with some friends watching the show, and they're very casual show watchers, and it was a completely different experience. And we had a really fun time watching last week's episode, but internally, I was chewing it apart like, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. And they don't care. They have real lives. They don't podcast about this shit.
That's right.
Hey, what are you trying to say?
Yeah. You can talk Game of Thrones, and you can be like, ooh, that episode was cool last night, and you can have this conversation, but as soon as you're like, what do you guys think about the fact that it costs so many gold dragons for... Oh, shut up. That's enough. That's enough. Just stop.
Was anyone afraid that Jaime was about to get killed?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I was like, they can't kill him.
I thought
like this.
everyone was about to get killed. I thought she was going to wildfire everyone.
Can we say that, the Jaime moment, because he ends up leaving and because Cersei is batshit, that moment... there was the most peril for a character probably all season.
Yeah.
Where I really felt tense. I really felt that this could be Jaime is gone now. And that was really well done. And they wanted us to feel that with Sansa and Arya, and not Littlefinger. I don't know. They fucked that whole other thing up, but they did that really well with making Jaime just be like, I'm done.
What about the Hound stepping up to his brother?
Hey, why does the Hound have to hide the cage and then bring it up on his back?
Yeah, I don't understand. That's what was confusing.
What was with that reveal? I mean, I guess Dany is all about the
presentation
entrance in this episode. She's floating down her dragon and shit.
Was anyone else scared, just a dead corpse would roll out of that cage and
I was certain of it. I was certain that Night King was gonna pull some shit and be like, nah.
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen and they're all gonna kill each other.
The Hound just walks over and he's like, rah, rah. He's moving it like a puppet.
I thought for sure that once that happened, Cersei would be like, yes, this is scary, and then she would just rip off, Gregor's helmet and be like, I already know what's going on. Leave me alone.
Yeah, it really takes the wind out of the scene.
That just come out of the box or something.
We just got a close-up on dead Gregor's bloated, nasty eyeballs, and it kind of takes the wind out of the scene when they're like, look at this horrifying corpse. Cersei's been having one walk around. We've complained about this. It's just,
that's the best look we've gotten of his face so far, too.
But nobody else knows that.
And doesn't make a sound. This one's scarier.
Yeah, I guess everyone just thinks that Gregor, for some reason, has a weird neck now. And, and maybe his tongue got cut out or something.
It's Weekend at Bernie's. If it's just nobody is capable of critical thought or questioning or why he smells so bad.
No.
Overall, we know Gregor always smelled bad. All these people smell bad.
Yeah.
No, I think people, gave Gregor a wide breath. You know what I mean? People avoided him, period. So once they know it's him, they're definitely staying away from him.
he was known for killing and raping? Could that have possibly driven people away?
No, it's the fact that it was gigantic and probably.
It's probably just that his heart needed to grow 2 sizes that day.
He was a Grinch.
Fuck.
So, hang on. Can someone explain to me, since apparently they were playing Littlefinger, they can't have been playing him all along because Arya terrorizes her sister in her chambers where there's no one to watch. And
Littlefinger was in the painting with his eyes watching them.
It's because 2 episodes ago, Arya saw Littlefinger paying off some fucking maid, and then it took 2 episodes of like us basically losing our shit because we thought the Starks were going to kill each other to figure out they were really gaming Little.
Yeah, well, I think you could have thought that was the thing, and I think a lot of us thought, well, that's probably what's going to happen, except it just didn't make sense because why are they still keeping up the act around?
Or maybe Bran was just sitting by the tree and suddenly went, "Oh shit, my sisters."
Yeah. They were just all telepathically communicating through Professor Bran. But I think that the issue is that they clearly had this conversation off screen somewhere where the 3 of them got together and discussed how bad Littlefinger was and that they should have done something about him because he like really fucked everything up in the first place.
So
and yet they waited episodes and episodes and let him do this thing with the note. And I mean, if they were trying to do something to trap him to give other people obvious evidence of his treason or something, I get it. But his conversations with Sansa are all in private.
They didn't bring any of the evidence forward.
No, they just said, like, we know what he's done. And Bran was like, I saw it. So
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And
I know,
they could have had it make sense.
Trolling us to build tension all season for no reason.
Yes. Again, and this is what they've done in the past, is they think the reveal, the scare, this, ooh, look, didn't we surprise you, is more important than actually developing the story. So they do this thing where it's like, see, we got you. And you're like, well, but now nothing you did made sense. So who's gotten got? Like, is it us or you? I'm not sure.
So do you think Euron really, like, fucking pieced out? Or is he
he didn't. He's working with Cersei. He's bringing the company over.
They said that.
Because he was like, well, I've seen some shit.
Matt,
yeah, but
this was actually in the show.
The scene with Cersei and Jaime.
Yeah.
Cersei goes, yes, everything has gone according to plan.
Yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I actually think that does make sense. I think that was one of the few things that did make sense.
Yeah, because him just being like, we are retreating to the Iron Isles to be cowards later. Hey, Daenerys, call me. Was kind of
I
silly.
like that Cersei kind of set them up. That is completely the most believable thing in this entire episode.
Well, that and the dragon. Anyway,
right.
Yeah. I mean, it was great seeing Arya open Littlefinger's throat. That's one less person they have to pay next season. So,
did you buy that he would start crying like that?
I think.
Well, you know what?
I liked
it. Because they've made him into such an incompetent, like, idiot the past few seasons. That's what I wanted to see, was him being like, I kind of screwed up. You know, after the plot to kill Joffrey, I've had nothing, and I've just been winging it. Oh my god!
Wait, I'm supposed to be holding cards
called
here.
Me on it.
Someone has my cards. I misplaced my cards.
Wait a minute. People aren't supposed to know I'm up to something?
Yeah.
Wait.
So I am glad that they finally were like, yeah, he's been shit, and he's not really this master plotter, and he's dead now. Except they still tried to sell that hard for 2 seasons pointlessly.
I mean, I did love this scene with them. But I didn't like the build-up from the last 6 episodes to this scene, I guess. Because I do feel like they were just trolling us and like lying to you.
This scene could have only been better if Lyanna Mormont was there. But
she like high-fives Arya?
she would be like, I saw it too. I saw him do the treason.
I did enjoy the moment when his eyes kind of flicker open like, oh, what? Me? My name is being said? It was very good.
Yeah, and his shit-eating grin goes away. So Maisie Williams, like 2 hours before the episode, posted like finale time with like a picture of Littlefinger at the tourney, like, you know, raising his eyebrows and winking, and I'm like, you troll. But I didn't check that until after that moment happened. So
When he was like, me? And then she's like, yep, step forward. That wall hold itself up without you, even though you've been pretending it can't all season.
I mean, like basically the Stark children trolled their own guards. And
it was like, gotcha! Hey, mama.
And they're like,
feel like the Lords of the Vale were in on it, though.
Well, Jan Royce, he definitely was, right?
Yeah, that guy.
He's like
we
the
haven't
only
seen
Lord
him
there.
in forever.
Not since he was telling them that they need to put leather on the
Oh, yeah.
that
was
I've
him.
been very busy.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And so I like this finally that so Sansa finally gets her moment. They made her seem kind of stupid before. Like they should have just showed us. They should have given us a hint at this or something, or like they could have had these confrontations happen in public, which would have made more sense.
I feel like it's something that if you went, like all of George's writing, it's something like if you went back and watched it, you could see the clues, but that is not the case here. Like there's no way I could go back and watch, and like you said, see Littlefinger's eyes in a poster or something, or a painting.
Adam, that suggestion you just made where it's like it would make more sense if like the scary confrontation between Sansa and Arya had taken place like in the courtyard or something, minus the bag of faces, because then it would be like, oh, it's an act that they're putting on to reel him in. But no, it's like the fact that we're privy to
privately.
Privately with like Sansa being like, what are these scary leather faces in your bag? And Arya like pointing a dagger at her sister, like all of that just seems very real and unrelated to conspiracy.
So now I just feel like
Bran
a bunch of
sit there for like fucking 3 episodes and be like, you know what? I see everything. And
he sat there because he
can't. It's not my father's death.
Fuck it, Bran.
It's actually hold on. It's actually not my father's death. It's actually. Yeah,
I'm telling you, they had a conversation about this, and he was like, "We'll do it when the moment's right. You let me know. I don't care. I'm the three-eyed raven. I'm going to sleep now."
Why would he do that? What else was he seeing? Because he's like listing off shit all episode, and it's like, why? Where was the shit like? When you first got to Winterfell, like I don't understand.
I read a tweet the other day that said that every time Bran says that he's the three-eyed raven, it's like your little brother saying, "I'm a DJ now." It's just
I'm a ninja.
Jesus Christ.
Sure you are, Brandon. Sure.
But I think the best thing about this to me, and like the most comical, is now I have to imagine all the off-scene stuff that happened with Sansa and Arya. Like clearly they've been going around like in the bathroom being like, "Don't murder me, sister!" Like just in case someone's listening. They've been like, "Oh, I found a bag of faces. Arya is a faceless man." So no. I must keep up the act. Only in the crypts can we be ourselves. Like
no. But even in the crypts, they weren't themselves. It's so.
When they were down in the crypts, they had their moment and stuff. Like when that was like the reunion and stuff moment, right? Where do you rank this like among the finales? Where do you think this ranks? How about that?
It's kind of finales that sucked, except for the first season.
What?
I think every finale has sucked except for the first season. This was the only season someone fucking knocking shit down and not being like the huge conqueror.
Well, no, right? the end of season 2 was like that army of the undead that showed up, right? That went nowhere after that. Whatever.
Last season was Daenerys sailing to Westeros.
That was pretty. Like last season's finale was okay, and then there was another. Like a lot of them have been kind of eh. All right. But I felt like the last couple ones were better than they had been. So.
I'm not so pissed off at this episode. Anyway, I maintain end of season episodes have been shit.
I don't think this episode was necessarily shit. I just think that a lot of things that they did throughout the season to get to this episode made a lot of things in this episode not make sense.
Right.
But I do think this was an entertaining episode. And there are parts, there's some of it that didn't make sense even in this episode, but I did enjoy it.
Because it's like 30 or 40% of like really awesome scenes and stuff that we want to see, cool things happening. Some of the dialogue, was not terrible. Like there's actually some really good stuff in here. It's just I don't know. It's woven together weirdly.
So all the kings and queens of Westeros were at one point, and then Euron's like, "Peace." Like, they can't swim. I'm out. And little do we know, later on, that he's actually still on board.
Yeah, but that seemed very weird. That whole thing seems weird, and it's a little better later on.
I kind of thought it was believable when he left. I found it believable. I was like, I'd be doing the same thing. Yeah, good luck with them.
Well, I didn't think he was going to go straight to the Iron Islands and just sit there. I thought, he's going to do something else, obviously. But, he would say well, I'm out. I'm just going home, and nothing's going to happen. Goodbye, y'all.
But it shows that Cersei
all you hear off stage is
sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Dunk, 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 dunk. This is me walking away. Dunk, 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 dunk. No, I'm really
no. The best part is in the distance, all of a sudden the dragon's just flying off and Euron's on it. What the hell happened? He's got a horn in his head. He's like, I stole your dragon.
So, and then Cersei's like, what? So she had 2 dragons, not 3. So it's not so big. One dragon lit the fucking Lannister army up.
Well, did she even make note that one was missing?
Yeah, she's like, something happened to it, and that was what really didn't make any fucking sense, because if you know that the White Walkers can kill a dragon that you haven't been able to kill, aren't you gonna be worried?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think she's kind of... Go ahead.
I guess I missed that part. I thought she was saying, she noticed, she's like, something's up, why would she come here? And she's got the dragons, and this, something's wrong. I didn't realize that she'd noted, hey, one's missing.
She did mention one was missing, and she would have brought it if she had it, because the whole thing was hey, look at me, here I come flying in on my dragon, instead of just walking up like everybody else.
Yeah, she should have just she should have just brought one dragon, and then it's
but meanwhile,
then
Jaime's
it's less suspicious.
One dragon fucking totaled our army. So the fact that she doesn't have 3 and only has 2 means
but
we're done for anyway.
Cersei doesn't know that they can turn a dragon, for one, and then she's assuming that they have a way
to
kill
one knows
dragons.
That.
I know. And she assumes they have a way to kill dragons because one is gone now, and that means that they can kill dragons. So she wants them to fight them.
So Cersei's like, well, I can find a way to kill the dragons too. Where's my ice spear?
Ugh.
But I think did anyone else? I don't know. The dragon pit, is that what you guys expected?
I thought it was Summerhall in the previews. So
yeah, it seemed like it was outside of the city, and it was just this large, Coliseum surrounded by forest. I thought it was just this giant pit in the city, so they would have had to go through, the gates and all that. But I don't know.
Well, you just use your dragon whistle, and they come to you.
That's right. Yeah.
I saw it on Power Rangers.
Can get wherever he wants to in the city, whenever.
No, it's a flute knife. It's a flute knife.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Wait, Power Rangers flute knife?
Yeah,
Power
Rangers. They have a flute knife. Anyway.
Go on.
I like the fact that they gave Cersei she's been really competent, and I like that. She hasn't just rolled over and died and doesn't have a plan. She has a plan, and she went into this already having the plan in motion, kind of like Tywin would have.
But what's her story going to be next year?
What do you mean?
Because she has no one to talk to but Qyburn.
I'm sure they're going to come over with somebody from the Golden Company who's going to be a new person on the show, and Euron's going to be
oh my God, guys!
I'm young Dario.
Dario leads the Golden Company.
I wouldn't put it past them just to give us something that they have. And he could turn on her at the end of the season.
Scorned by his lover, yeah. Okay.
I guess I like the fact that...
Isn't Dario leader of, Dragon's Bay right now?
He's king of Marine.
Basically, yeah.
Regent of Marine.
But he didn't really seem like a ruler, so I feel like he would have gave up that job pretty quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, is he pieced out real quick. I don't know. All right, so...
I'm happy with this fucking episode.
You're
I
what?
Can't wait to...
Okay, Matt. So we know how you felt about this episode. Everyone else, what did you guys think overall? Were you pleased? Are you excited for next season? Are you kind of apprehensive now? Like, what do you think?
Katie, why don't you go first?
I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, I do. It just kind of sucks that like I get just the fact that like apparently the actors are
everything.
No, not everything, but just like the way that they're filming now is like a lot of actors just don't know the full extent of the scripts that they're given. Like people are given different scripts, and it kind of that lack of information kind of comes out in the acting and the fact that like the dialogue sucks now. So sometimes when the actors are talking, it just feels weird. Like they don't actually believe in the words they're saying. Like that's the part that kind of sucks the most for me. Is like I feel like a lot of people in the show aren't having fun making the show anymore. And you can kind of feel it, but the stuff that still is fun, you know, I still feel energized at certain points. So, you know, seeing Kit Harington's tight little butt for 2 seconds was probably the highlight of my season.
Writhing on top of his hand.
I'm just saying, like, Danny should have been writing his face on top. The optics of it would have been better.
Wouldn't have seen his butt, though.
Feel like I'll show you the Lord's kiss. Here you go.
She's like, I'm the Dragon Queen.
Yeah.
Okay, what was Tyrion doing listening outside?
That was kind of creepy.
Being a little fur.
I think that we needed a point of view to see that like that was going on. And
we knew it was
like,
going on, man.
I know, but
why do we
but
need
again,
a point of view to see sex? We've never needed it before.
I know. This is
I
what
was
I'm
in the
saying,
room.
is like we needed a point of view for that. We needed like Tyrion to go, ooh, this is heavy that they're getting together. It's so serious for next season. But we don't need a point of view like of Littlefinger seeing the sisters plotting, whatever. So
Fucking Tyrion's like, I miss Roz.
yeah, I don't think Tyrion even. I mean, maybe he kind of likes Dany. I don't know, but I don't think he really harbors any notion of, you know, maybe the hand can become the the other hand.
The hand that strokes the
the hand can become the
hand that fondles
the bedmate. I don't know what's going on.
He's like, I liked it better when I was.
It's like Daenerys a tripod. It's like a tripod.
Do you think Danny's gonna get pregnant? They did have that conversation where he's like, well, maybe your sources weren't reliable.
I can't have babies. Are you sure?
that was great, actually. But that's the second time that they've mentioned it. That like the last episode, she's like, these are my only children. If we're kind of thinking about this, I can't have kids. And then she outright says it here, and he's like, wait, someone who has to spell it murdered you? Yeah.
Want to find out?
Well, good, then we can have sex and we don't have to worry about having kids, right?
I got a room back on the ship, you know.
Because I really don't want to make bastards.
You know, it turns out that it's really fucking hard to make kids. Like,
actually, it's not, man. I did it first try.
You're obviously very fertile. But
it was
like,
one glorious week and fertile.
It was done. Brett, promise me, Aegon. Promise me.
Take them very little.
So is Ned kind of a dick? Since I guess like this is like full confirmation, which we already knew, but not only the fact that they were married and he's like the rightful heir, and Ned just like sweep that under the rug, but he lets him join the Night's Watch, and he's like, later on I'll tell you you're the king, like after you join the Night's Watch, which sucks. But also his name was Aegon, and I guess.
Yeah, I didn't get that from the actual show itself. I got it from them telling me afterward.
Yeah. And I guess you can't. Obviously, Ned can't name him Aegon because he'd be like, "Why are you naming him after a Targaryen? That's weird." You know, you just went to war with those people.
Targaryen.
Why are you naming him after a Frey? Oh no, that's Rhaegar Frey. That's right.
That's Rhaegar.
Why are you picking the most unoriginal Targaryen name? Rhaegar?
I know. Well, obviously because Rhaegar picked it, and Rhaegar's not like the most.
I think Lyanna picked. It's like it's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, she's like, it's the one I know. But wouldn't you think that she knows what's going on, and like Rhaegar's gone, and if Ned's there, that like I don't know, she's like she just had her kid and she's dying, so she's not thinking straight. But I don't know. She probably wanted him to like promise me that you put him on the throne, and Ned was like, "I promise, but I'm not doing that." Like, so he didn't have a bastard, but he kind of made a promise that he couldn't keep.
Well, she could have just said, "Promise me you'll keep him alive," or "Promise me you won't let him
keep him
be
safe."
Killed.
Yeah.
But for the books, doesn't it make it even more? I mean, okay, for the show, we know that he's a Targaryen. He's brought back from the dead. But for the books, like, would it make it more sad that like so many people died for a bullshit like Rhaegar raped Lyanna and like stole her away?
Well, that's part of the whole reason for the rebellion, but it was more Aerys. I mean, that was just like the final straw where Robert was able to get pissed off, but he just murdered a bunch of lords and he's just burning people.
Well, it wasn't
in the
even
Red
Robert
Keep,
that was.
so.
I mean, it was
it was Robert because
but it was because
what was it?
They murdered Ned's family. It wasn't just because Lyanna got kidnapped. It was
because Aerys said like, "Hey, Ned and Robert, come here," and they were obviously going to be killed. So they were like, "Well, time to rebel."
Jon Arryn to kill them.
No, it was Rhaegar kidnapping Lyanna and Brandon Stark going to the King's Landing and being like,
right.
"I'm going to kill you, Rhaegar," and then Aerys.
And then when Rickard came, he killed
that's
them
a threat, and then like notified like his father, and then like he burned his father alive and like strangled Brandon.
No, the war started when Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated. But then again, that had been brewing for some time.
I feel like Mihal is going to be kind of happy, but also kind of enraged still, like we are with this. Like, thank you for doing the thing we wanted you to do, but doing it in the stupidest possible way. So, yeah. So join us tomorrow.
I think she'll be more pissed that like they trolled us for a couple episodes, and then like she got like the happy ending that she wanted.
Yeah, it's cheap, is what it is. It's very cheap. But I guess that wall's pretty cheap too, because it just came right down. So
yeah, it's very nice. Skyrim, Blue Dragon Fire.
Oh yeah. Although they didn't scream anything, so.
Yep.
All right, guys. I gotta get to bed. So, good night.
Good night. Good night, Adam. Good night, Katie.
Good night.
Good night, Paul.
Good night,
Zach, if you're
dragons.
Good night.